Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Miss Mary. Welcome to Live Storytime. And when you join, please just say hello in the chat. Again, when you join in, please just say hello in the chat, and I will make sure to give you a shout out. I hope everybody is doing well this week. And hi, Crystal. And I'm using a new, it's still Facebook Live, but it's a new way of doing it on my end, so hopefully it all goes smoothly this week. I think it should be okay. So, again, welcome to Live Storytime. If you are just tuning in or just arriving, please say hello in the chat, and I'll give you a shout out. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Luna. Kermit says hello, too. Welcome, welcome. Just give it a little bit more time. Just, you know. And, okay. Oh, good. Everything looks good. That's good. Maybe there will be less of a lag time with the new way. You know, sometimes comments lagged with the original way that Facebook did live. So maybe this will be better. Okay, so I'm going to get started. And I just wanted to show my shirt for this week. So this one is another famous Mr. Rogers quote, "Look for the helpers," right? He remembers that his mother told him that when he was a little boy, and whenever things made him feel scared or nervous or, you know, just anything like that, any kind of situation that makes you feel that way, to look for the helpers, and they will help you feel better. So, little ode to Mr. Rogers this week. One of my favorites. And so this week's theme, we are imagining our story as artists. So all three of my books today are art themed or creative themed, or you'll see, really, really great stories about art. And some of them even have pictures of the real art that inspired the story in the back of the book. So these books are just really special. Again, if you have arrived, please say hello in the chat so I can give you a shout out. And without further ado, let's imagine our story as artists. This first story is called Anna at the Art Museum by Hazel, Hutchins, and Gail, Herbert. Okay. There we go. Anna was not happy. Everything at the art gallery seemed old and boring. Anna would have to entertain herself. "Roar," she said to the lion. "Shh. Quiet, please," said the attendant. Museums are pretty quiet places, right? "Peekaboo," she whispered to the baby. Oh, but she knocked something over. "Careful," said the attendant. It's hard to be little sometimes, right? Hard to be little in a place where you have to be quiet and sit still. It's hard. When Anna carefully lifted her foot onto something that looked like it was for children, the attendant shook his head and pointed to the sign. "Do not touch." Okay. So, Anna and her mother had a talk. It was one they'd had earlier, but perhaps Anna had not listened quite as closely as she should have. No shouting, no running, no climbing, no touching. After that, Anna pretended she was a small bush in a forest of tall trees. One of the trees swayed to the side. There was something interesting beyond. Anna moved closer and closer. Anna didn't know paintings could have alarms. Oh no. Everyone turned and stared. Anna quickly ran away. Poor Anna. On the second floor, Anna found a window nook. While her mother looked at paintings, Anna gazed longingly out at the street and the harbor beyond. If only the museum could be turned inside out, or the world outside in. In the next gallery, she pulled out her snack. But why was the attendant looking at her that way? "Are you hungry?" she asked. "We can share." He was not hungry. "No eating," he said with a firm voice. She could only drink at the water fountain in the hall. It was nice of her to offer him her snack, though. And then she saw the half-open door. When a door is half open, it is very hard not to wonder what lies on the other side. I agree. "Anna," cautioned her mother softly, "no entry means we are not allowed." "But," Anna began. Once again, the attendant was walking toward her. This time, however, he surprised her. "It's not busy today. They might let you in. Would you like me to ask?" It was like a secret workshop. Wait till you see what's inside. Here, art was studied, repaired, and cleaned. Look at all the art that they're repairing. After years of grime were removed, the face of a young girl slowly emerged. It was a bored face, a grumpy face. Anna knew that young girl. She hurried to thank the attendant. "She's just like me," Anna told him, or "I'm just like her," which made the attendant smile. And now something had changed. On the floor above, Anna danced patterns of her own. She felt color swirl around her. I bet some of the adults in the group can recognize some of these paintings that Anna is seeing. But it had been a long afternoon. Even her mother was ready to go home. They took the fast way down, the elevator, pausing only long enough for Anna to whisper to the lion, "I'll be back." Then they pushed open the wide gallery doors, and Anna skipped through, letting inside and out flow together. And in the back of this book, I'm going to show you, it's going to be hard to see, but you get to see all of the beautiful art that Anna saw in the museum that day. So this was the story of Anna at the art museum. Fun little introduction. And again, having the art at the back of the book is incredible because then you get to see the real life inspiration for the story. So, oh, I see a lot of comments. Hold on. Okay. I know, so cute. It was such a sweet story, Crystal. I love it. Poor Anna is right. Like I said, it's so hard to be little sometimes, and you have all of this energy, and you're excited, and sometimes you get a little loud, and, you know, the library has become a place where you don't have to worry as much about that, but at a museum, you do have to be a little bit quieter, and that can be very hard for little ones. So Anna was struggling with that, but then the museum attendant helped her out a little bit and showed her something really cool. That room in the back where art was fixed and cleaned and repaired, and that was something really special for Anna. So, you're an adult and you're watching this. I love that, Alyssa. Thank you. And you are not alone. I've had a few coworkers this week reach out to me to let me know that they also watch. So, thank you for joining in. I am also an adult. I love the way she reads. Oh, Vanessa. Love you. Crystal, you love art, although technically your children are nearby. Totally counts. Even if they're not in the same room. Totally counts. What's going on? I'm late to the plot. I hope I filled you in on that, Alyssa. And, oh, Merwat. Hello. Hello, Muntaha and Zoha. Welcome. I have to give a special shout out to them. Merwat, Muntaha, and Zoha join me every week from Pakistan, and I just think that is incredible. I'm so honored that this has such a reach in that regard. So thank you for everyone who has joined in. And again, keep the comments coming. I'm going to start in with my next book. Again, this week it's all art themed, and after this story, I'm going to link in the comments to this week's themed activity guide, which is, again, imagining your story as an artist. And we have all sorts of fun activities on that guide for you and your family to enjoy. And every week we have a new theme. So this week, again, is art. So next week you'll have to see what's coming up next. All right. So this one is called Isabella, Artist Extraordinaire. Just how inspired can a little girl be? And this is by Jennifer Fosberry. Okay, here we go. This book is a little bit longer, so I might have to sit back a little bit. Wider, you know what I mean. Isabella, no school today, the father said. We should go somewhere special. Home is special, said the little girl. And you see her drawing, right? Yes, but how about the park? Said the mother. Let me think about it. You see, every page is a little hint of a real piece of art. An afternoon in the park would be lovely, said the little girl, but Alexander's party is there this Sunday. Good point, the mother said. What about horseback riding? I love horses, said the little girl. But not today. Let's cross that idea off the list. Okay, so another hint. How about the lake? The father asked. A boat party would be fun, said the little girl, but it's awfully chilly today. Should we go into the city? The mother asked. We could take the train, the father said. Okay, here's another hint, right? They're on this boat ride. Okay. A modern day adventure, said the little girl, but home is fun too. How about the ballet? The mother asked. The ballet is beautiful, said the little girl, but I was under the impression I got to pick what we do. Besides, you can just watch my class next week. Another good point, the mother said. Okay, some of you might recognize, here we go, what that looks like. Pick someplace or we'll be staring at a starry night and we won't be going anywhere, said the father. Now I'm sure all of the adults will recognize this page. I know, said the little girl. There are just so many places I could scream. Now, this one looks a little scary for children, but it is another famous painting. We could hop out for some ice cream, the mother said. I love ice cream, said the little girl, but maybe we should save that for another night. Okay, here's the art on this page. I suppose we could pop down to the store, the mother said. A nice warm bowl of soup sounds great, said the little girl. Okay, we're getting a little glare. Here we go. Okay, so all of those soup cans. I see Jay has joined the story time. I know he knows all of these, all of these paintings. I've got it. I'll do something special for us, said the little girl. I'll whistle when I'm ready, mother. And this is another example of art. Voila! We can go everywhere and see everything right here, Isabella said, and the little girl led her family to a most wondrous place. A museum of her own making. And look what she did. She used her crayons and her art supplies, and she made her own versions of all of those famous paintings that we saw. And again, in the back of this book, it shows every single piece of art. From the beginning, we have The Thinker, right? And then Starry Night, and the Campbell's Soup Cans by Andy Warhol, Degas' Dancers. All of the art that was shown in this book is in the back. So Isabella created her own museum, and I think that was just so cool. And maybe Anna from the other book will be inspired to do that when she gets a little bit older. Okay. Oh, you love my energy. Thank you so much, Alyssa. That is so kind. Degas, very good, Jay. Jay, spoiler alert, Jay is one of my coworkers, and he's wonderful, and he has a master's degree in art. So he knows all of the beautiful artists and art and things that have been mentioned in the books I've read so far. So, yes, it's so true. Yes, it was an awesome museum that Isabella created. Okay, well, that was a great story. Let me just link really quickly in the comments to this week's awesome theme. And again, this week's themed activity guide is all about imagining your story as an artist. So we have websites that you can visit, virtual tours of museums that you can take, crafts that you can make, fun STEM activities that you can do that are all about art. So check out that guide. I just linked to it, and I'll post, when the replay is posted, I will make sure that I add that to the little description too, so everyone can see that. I am sure Jay can paint something like that. I don't doubt it. And also Olivia, one of our other wonderful workers at the library. Very talented staff. I cannot paint very well. I'm not very good at art, but I certainly enjoy it. So that is what I bring to the table, and great stories about art. So this last story is just wonderful. I think, you know, when we think of art teachers, we tend to think of a little zany, a little out there, a little weird in a good way. Very, very creative minds, but Willow's art teacher is a little bit different. And we'll see how this one unfolds. So this is called Willow by Denise Brennan-Nelson. Even on the sunniest days, Miss Hawthorne's art room was cold and dark. Ooh, Bad start already, right? Everything was in its place. There wasn't a single broken crayon in the bunch. The students sat in their rows, silent and still, like eggs in a carton. Except for Willow. Okay, so here we go, neat and orderly, except for Willow. Rosy-cheeked Willow twisted around in her seat to look out the window. Face forward, young lady. Miss Hawthorne's icy blue eyes glared at Willow. Willow shivered. Miss Hawthorne's moods were as dark as her clothing. One day in September, Miss Hawthorne handed out paper, paintbrushes, and paints. She told her students to make pictures of a tree and hung an example on the board. All the students painted trees with straight brown trunks and round green tops. Everyone except Willow. Who ever heard of a pink tree? Miss Hawthorne asked with a frown. That's what I saw when I closed my eyes, said Willow. A few students giggled. Sam snorted. Pink stinks. You can see Willow's tree looks different than everybody else's, and it's okay to draw a tree with a brown trunk and green leaves. That's what I do. But Willow had a different idea. The next week, Willow carried her well-loved art book to school. In it was a picture of a flamingo pink tree painted by a famous artist. Look, Willow pointed, giving Miss Hawthorne her most magical smile. Miss Hawthorne glanced at the picture, then turned away with a scowl. Ugh, horrid little girl, she muttered as Willow skipped off. But that's right. In her art book, an artist drew a pink tree. In October, Miss Hawthorne passed out paper, paintbrushes, and paints. She told her students to make pictures of an apple tree and hung an example on the board. All the students painted trees with straight brown trunks, round green tops, and red apples. Everyone except Willow. Miss Hawthorne pointed with a long, bony finger. Look at the mess you've made. And there's no such thing as a blue apple. But that's what I saw when I closed my eyes, said Willow. Some of the students giggled. Sam laughed especially hard. Yeah, who ever heard of a blue apple? I don't know, I think it looks kind of cool, Willow. The next week, Willow carried her well-loved art book to school again. She showed Miss Hawthorne a picture of a tree with blue apples. Then she reached into her backpack and took out a blue apple. This is for you, she said, handing it to Miss Hawthorne. Miss Hawthorne's face turned crimson, which is another word for red. Horrid little girl, she muttered as Willow skipped off. Willow is being so nice to her teacher and giving her gifts and trying so hard. Poor Miss Hawthorne just doesn't seem to get it. Autumn flew past. Willow always seemed to be in trouble in Miss Hawthorne's class. Stop daydreaming, Willow. You broke another crayon, Willow? Willow, put that book away. Most of all, Willow got into trouble for not painting things the way Miss Hawthorne wanted her to. The day before winter vacation began, students bought presents for their teachers, but no one brought a present for Miss Hawthorne. Except for Willow. Miss Hawthorne stood at the window watching Willow and the other students board their buses. She wasn't in any hurry to leave. No one was waiting for her at home. Miss Hawthorne walked to her desk. She was surprised to see a gift. No one ever gave her gifts. To Miss Hawthorne, my art teacher, from Willow. Miss Hawthorne slowly unwrapped the package. Nestled in a bed of tissue paper was Willow's well-loved art book. Miss Hawthorne sat holding the book for a long time. That was so nice of Willow, that book that she loved so much, and she gave it to a teacher who wasn't really very nice to her. That was pretty special. It was dark outside when she walked to the cabinet where the art supplies were kept locked away. Miss Hawthorne filled her arms with paintbrushes, paints, colored pencils, and a sketch pad and carried them to her desk. She flipped open the sketch pad and stared down the blank page. Finally, Miss Hawthorne picked up a colored pencil. For the first time in her life, Miss Hawthorne doodled. Okay, so doodling is what you do when you don't really have an idea in mind of what you're going to make, so you just start drawing. Outside, the wind howled. Trees creaked and strained and broke where they could not bend. Snowflakes swirled upward. The lights flickered off. Miss Hawthorne sat in the darkness. When the lights came back on, Miss Hawthorne's fingers found the wet paint and spread it across the page. The school custodian poked his head into the classroom. He stopped, astonished at what he saw. Across town, Willow stood at her bedroom window, peering at the soft, fat snowflakes through her spyglass. After a while, she climbed into bed and fell asleep, wondering if Miss Hawthorne had liked her present. When the students returned to school in January, everything was the same as always, except the art room. With wide eyes and open mouths, the students stood rooted in the doorway. Willow was the first to step inside. Behind a graceful willow tree covered in paint from head to toe, a woman was painting. A willow tree, just like Willow's name. Do you know where Miss Hawthorne is? Willow asked. When the woman turned around, the students gasped. Miss Hawthorne? Asked Willow. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Willow, Miss Hawthorne said. Grab the paintbrushes. I need your help. Delighted, the students did as they were asked. This time, everyone painted just the way they wanted. Especially Willow. Okay, so that is the story of Willow, and what an inspiration she was, right? To her art teacher. So, sweet girl, that Willow. I agree, Crystal. She was so sweet. And, she never gave up on Miss Hawthorne. I guess she saw maybe some potential there and said, you know what, I'm going to keep being nice and I'm going to keep showing her my art book. And, it worked. Miss Hawthorne had a transformation at the end, and, all the students got to paint the way they wanted to paint. So awesome. You should always be true to yourself. Don't let people change who you really are. Way to go, Vanessa. Couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely true. Definitely the message of that story. Willow stayed true to herself. She drew blue apples. She drew pink trees. And even though everyone was laughing at her, she knew that it was okay to do that. So, thank you again so much for coming to Storytime this week. I hope you enjoyed the stories about art and museums as much as I did. I really loved this week's theme. And next week we have a new theme. I'm not going to tell you, but all of our themed weekly activity guides are available on our website, where I linked to in the comments. Every Monday a new one appears. So you'll get to see what next week's is on Monday. And next Friday, I will be back in a special location with my story time, with stories that relate to next week's theme. So thank you again so much, everyone, for joining me for story time today. I hope you had fun. And don't forget that if you missed any of the stories, or you came in late, or anything, the replay video will be on Facebook as soon as I end the live video. So stay tuned for that if you want to watch a replay. And other than that, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather if you like the hot weather. I don't, but it's okay. Enjoy the sunshine be safe, be well, stay healthy, and I'll see you next week for more stories. Bye, everyone.